so red that the war's here. You'll never will it ever end me. I like ice, but you run on yourself, cause it was about war. 58 counties screaming for the mine. The war's coming forth, never with the disguise. Another A-bomb for you, I really want it. Shrap medals in my vocabulary. Rolling with the punches, I'm roll beating and jumping. Dealing with the problems, I got to be coping. Making it fit, and I click just like a Lego. I'll be Casio, but you can be tangled from the FBI to the CIA. I'm clearing out the path and here to LA. I be from C-Town, kicking the roof down, ripping up the mic and way past sundown. As a world turn. As a world turn.
And welcome back to another episode of Prospects of the Land. This time we are joined again by a very special guest. Think we could say a friend of the program by now. Guardians 2024 round 18 pick Izaak Martinez. Izaak, how we doing? Where we staying at for the off season?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I'm excited to be back. Currently back home in the spot that I growing up here in beautiful Glendora, California. So I'm out here. The weather's been great. Thankfully, it gets really cold early in the mornings, late at night, but it's pretty temperate throughout the day, so can't complain.
Izaak, I want to start this off by doing something a little fun. First off, I hope all is well, but I want to see if you can, since you're home in California right now, can you name the lineup that was out on the field? Can you name the 8 guys that were behind you for those final outs when you guys recorded a conference championship back in 2023 for UC San Diego?
Okay, that's a hot question. Okay, the 8 guys consisted of so we changed the lineup a good amount of time, a
lot of pinch hitting.
Coach Eric Newman loves his pinch hitters, but I think I can name the 8. I'm going to go with Emiliano Gonzalez at catcher. I'm going to go.
That's correct.
Noah Sudica at shortstop.
That's also correct.
Michael Furman at second base or at an outfield spot.
Yep, he played both that game.
Okay, so there you go. At third base, we'll go Matt Hallback.
Yep.
At first base, we'll go Doyle Kane.
That's also correct.
Okay, so now this is where we get a little crazy because the outfield just kept cycling through. Center field, I'm going to go. Oh my goodness. Center right field was Nick Costello, maybe.
Yeah, he was in left. He was in left.
He was in left. Okay.
He was in left when you pitched. Yep.
Oh man, right field, was it Brock Klez?
Yeah, that was right field. He started the game in right field, but I think there was another guy that was in right field when you were pitching. Okay, it's a guy you've already said. I think Furman was in right. So, now you're missing the second baseman too. So you need second base and center field.
Okay. Second baseman, was it Patrick Hackworth?
It was not. Nope.
Okay. Patty Hacks was off the bench.
He started that game and left, and then he got pinched hit. Costello came in for him.
There it is. That does make sense. Lefty for a lefty for some reason, but that's fine. Second base, we had so many guys in and out.
This guy started the game in center, and he moved to second.
This guy started the game in center and moved to second?
I'm just reading the lineup card. That's
Drew Robinson?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yep. Wow. Yeah, I mean, so many utility guys for some reason, but and then you said I have one more.
Yeah, center.
Finish the game in center.
Brock Klesic was in right, and this guy pinched hit for Brock. And then was put in center.
Holy cow. Oh man. Do you know what handedness he was, like hitting?
I don't. I'm trying to
He only had one at bat. So
he had one. Okay.
One at bat.
Let me see if I can find his numbers from that year. Maybe that'll help. I'll give you some stats. We'll throw stats away.
It's rough because we had I swear we had like 15 guys going in and out of the lineup like throughout that
Yeah,
entire.
that's
lineup
why we
runs
thought this
deep.
would be fun.
Okay, our center fielder. I mean, oh my goodness.
He hit 310 that year, had a 921 OPS, started 19 games, played in 32, had 27 hits, not a home run guy, only had 2 home runs, 18 RBIs, equal amounts of walks and strikeouts, around a
Oh,
400 on base percentage,
oh my
5 for
God.
6 in steals.
Oh, he's he's gonna get so mad at me for getting this.
You can give up any time.
Yeah, I'm a chalk it up because there's.
Well, you owe Jalen Smith an apology.
Oh my. Okay, so quick context. Jalen's playing in France right now. Great guy, great ball player. He exited the season with a broken hamate bone, and I wasn't sure. I don't know if he ended up coming back to play in that final series. So that was kind of blocking my memory from him
Okay.
even being.
I'm sure Jalen will
consideration.
forgive you for that.
Yeah, he's over there in Paris doing great things. So
Good.
I'm
Well,
sure he doesn't get mad.
Isaac, before we ask you about baseball stuff, man, how's life? How's the off season treating you? And what are you doing for the holidays?
Yeah, life's been great. It's my first off season as a minor leaguer. So without school, without the stress of everything else aside from baseball, it's been great. I've been fortunate enough to be eating well, sleeping well, and training well. As for plans for the holidays, I'm just spending a bunch of time with family just because I know a huge time away is coming. So just spending as much time as I can with my siblings, my girlfriend, my parents, and then extended family. That's kind of what I've been up to, which has been super fulfilling and super good for myself, just overall.
And to back off of that there as well, have you ever had to like spend a long time away from home? I know obviously probably baseball trips and such, but you went to college in the California area in San Diego, which I think is pretty close to where you're at now, if my California geography is serving me correctly. How are you preparing for that long time away, or have you had to already? And what are some of the things that go into that?
Yeah, I haven't really spent too long of periods away from California. The longest periods were probably just in summer ball, which were a month to a month and a half out in the Cape and up in Washington and a part in Canada. But aside from that, I really haven't had much time extended like at all away from California. So definitely wherever I find myself in the next couple months following spring training, it will be the longest I will ever be away from my family, friends, and kind of just the people I've like grown up training with. So it's exciting, but it's also going to be different.
I want to remind the people we are talking with Izaak Martinez. He's a round 18 draft pick. Got his minor league pro debut this past season on August 5th. He was called up to Lynchburg in 7 games, went 1-0. We're not the biggest fans of pitching records, so we'll just tell you the rest of your stats, Izaak. 2.77 ERA in 13 innings, 16 strikeouts, and very good stuff. Tavin, you got some baseball questions.
Yeah. I mean, the last time we talked to you was right after the draft. You didn't know really where you were going to land. We were thinking Lynchburg. Obviously that's where you went. First pro game, you come in, strike 3 guys out, pick up the win. I mean, just kind of how were you? I mean, feeling after getting the win in your first game?
Yeah, it was great. I remember it was a big time grind, and just the entirety of the game kind of forced all of us to be on our toes. It was good that they kind of just threw me into a situation where I was kind of accustomed to prior. But being put in that type of situation where I had the ability to contribute to a win was assuring to me, and I was definitely familiar with it. So it was great.
For sure. I mean, just even talking about Lynchburg, just how's that transition been? Just going down there, meeting with all the guys. I mean, just starting out there.
Yeah, it's been sweet getting to learn from some good guys that have some really good experience. The coaching staff up there has been great. And the people out there have been really welcoming for our new draft class and kind of the guys that came in. But yeah, it's super cool. It feels like, I was supposed to be a part of the team. And that's really a good feeling, especially coming into a new environment.
Playing college ball and pro ball, in the same year, what's kind of the biggest difference you've seen, but with your time, I mean, in both?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think college ball, there was much more of a responsibility that was tasked with being the guy, or a part of a core group of guys that were responsible for a bulk of the load. Going into pro ball, it's kind of like a good distribution of like load management, and kind of doesn't really feel like you have to do too much, which has been good. So it definitely is much less stress. It's much less, fatigue on my body. But that has been the biggest difference, has been the load management situation.
What sort of different pieces of advice have you gotten since moving into the pro levels? What did you get told before your first game? What are you getting told now in preparing for an off season?
Yeah, I mean, the staff in Lynchburg was great at kind of just welcoming all the new guys in. They just said, go do what you've been doing that got you here. And yeah, it was super easy to assimilate with those guys. They kind of just threw us out there, go do what you have to do, go do your work, and then we'll chat afterwards. We'll assess how you felt, your process of things, and then kind of moving forward. Which was really good because it allowed me to be who I was, and then see what I can work on afterwards. And yeah, they told me a bunch of really good things in terms of the direction I should go moving forward, and some things I can work on as well. And yeah, super exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the coaches and stuff. I mean, how good is it for you to be kind of in that first wave of guys from this draft class to go up there, and just how have you been clicking with the guys up there? I know you, Rafe, and a lot of the other prospects, that kind of all went up at the same time. So how's that been?
Yeah, I was actually fortunate enough to play with both Rafe and Cam Schulke in the Cape. So we actually had a really good connection prior. And for us to be able to all go compete again on the same team was super contributed to the ease of like the whole chemistry dynamic that some guys run into. But yeah, it was great. Like they had high expectations for us, as they should, and they held us to a really good standard, which is a quality of a high functioning, high success team. So I really like that.
Izaak, we were sitting up here around the time you were making your pro debut talking about playoffs for Lake County, playoffs for Akron, playoffs for Columbus, and even playoffs for the big league team up in Cleveland. We didn't really feel like Lynchburg was a team. We knew that they had the potential to make it there, but we knew that it was going to take a lot. Some of the guys like Jacob Kozart and a lot of the other draft picks went up to Lake County to play in some playoff baseball, and that was their first pro experience. Did it sort of take any pressure off of you, knowing obviously you were still trying to fight for a playoff spot, but did it take any sort of the pressure, like, okay, I can just kind of feel things out now?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the competitor. I've always have been a part of teams that were just at the cusp or competing for a championship. So that's kind of how I'm strung. That's how my DNA is comprised of. I kind of want to just always compete for the biggest, best thing. So seeing Cozy and Bazana like being able to compete for a title and get it done is super exciting because it's feasible. It's tangible. I could see it right there in front of me. And I think right here in Lynchburg, we were just a couple games away, a series or two away from really catching steam. But you guys know that's baseball. Sometimes series aren't going to go your way. We ran into some unfortunate situations in terms of on the field stuff, but yeah, that's baseball. So Definitely a good learning opportunity for all the guys that were part of our organization down there in Lynchburg. But I felt as if all those guys left understanding that we were really close to competing for something really special.
So I hate to backtrack, but I actually want to go back to your first game that you pitched back on August 9th, because you were assigned to the roster on August 5th or 6th, I believe. And then you get into that series and it's rain delay, rain delay, rain delay. How do you keep yourself prepared after, I mean, I'm looking at it right here. Postponed on Tuesday, postponed on Wednesday, and then a game was just up and canceled on Thursday. It was that really weird weather pattern going on in the late months of August, or I should say in the early part of August. How did you keep yourself ready? And did you have a good idea of when your moment would come, or were you kind of just waiting until your name got called?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting coming from sunny San Diego to the weird weather down there. And
Welcome to the Midwest.
I know, I was gonna say, down to that weird weather, and they were swearing. They're like, this weather never happens. You guys brought all the cancellations with you.
Oh no, it happens a lot.
Yeah, so we were kind of dealing with it alongside the guys that were already there because they really didn't experience it that much as well. So thankfully, we all shared that same experience of just getting through as much as we can in terms of practice and throwing. But then in terms of my opportunity, I was just alongside the other arms that were fresh because we got those days off. And whenever the opportunity presented itself, they called my name and I was ready and moving and doing what I had to do. And thankfully the outcome was in my favor. But yeah, they run it really well out there in Lynchburg.
Tavin?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just as a bullpen guy, I'm kind of wondering, like, obviously delay, and sometimes you go, 2-3 days without being used out of the bullpen. Just kind of how do you keep the mentality, like, just to stay on track and, just kind of be like, all right, my time's going to come.
Yeah, definitely a good question. It's tough, but when you kind of live your life in a sort of competitive nature and kind of just looking for the next opportunity to emulate a competitive situation, we were throwing bullpens where that was kind of like the mindset of, hey, let's try and see how competitive we can get without overthrowing or being too full of intent. So we threw some good bullpens on those days where we got pushed back, and a lot of the catch play in between when it wasn't really raining, or at least sprinkling, was very in tune, very zoned in catch play that kind of allowed me to stay in tune with like my outing schedule and stuff like that.
I want to ask you this question too. What do you feel like your best outing of your very short 7-game career has been? Where do you feel you pitched the best?
Yeah, that's
I have my own personal answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah,
that's a good question. I think it was home. It was home. It was a 4-pitch outing or a 3-pitch outing. And that was solely because I was amidst a personal kind of situation where I wasn't throwing my fastball how I wanted to. My fastball is my best pitch, so it was kind of like a funk. But I kind of broke out personally with how I felt throwing pitches. I ended up picking up a kick change, which came out of nowhere just in catch play, and I was just back to throwing and back to just executing and pitching as opposed to just trying to think too much and working through too much in the moment. So that was my personal favorite outing. It also allowed me to be an athlete and show them that I could actually feel the like a PFP. But yeah, personally, that was my favorite.
And what do you want to grow now? You're going into your first off season. So let's start talking about what you do during the off season. Obviously, you said you spend time with family right now, which you should be. It's Christmas time. Absolutely. But what are you doing mentally, physically to prepare yourself for spring training come February and March? And what do you personally want to work on for next year?
Yeah, great question. We've had a lot of conversations regarding my trajectory as a pitcher. and they pretty much all revolve around bolstering my improving the ceiling of my best attributes, and pushing the floor of certain aspects of my game. So, how can we throw a little bit firmer? How can we throw more off speeds in a certain type of count? How can we mix up pitch distributions? Those are three things that we're kind of just addressing. And then on the back end of things, it's let's have more strength output. Let's get stronger. Let's use more of your frame. So it's a bunch of generalized things that we're approaching, but it's very personalized in the approach, which is very, very good. And it's different than what I've experienced in the past. But yeah, at the forefront of it, I got to throw a little bit firmer. I got to trust my off speeds a little bit more, and then just keep doing what I'm doing. Because, yeah, if I'm able to have success throwing 89, 90, then throwing 92, 93 will hopefully reap better results as well.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you talk about the ceiling, them wanting to push the ceiling, your better attributes, one of which is the fastball. Just kind of how important is it to get that speed up? Obviously, coming with the fastball.
Yeah, big time. That's like the overarching thing that every coach when I was in the draft process, or every organization when I was in the draft process, told me. They said, make a 2-3 mile an hour jump, and we're having a different conversation in terms of where you'll be within the organization. So that's the big one looming over me right now. Metrically, my fastball plays very well. It has some outlier metrics, which is I'm thankful for, and continuously working on bolstering that. But the velocity is just the elephant in the room that we've been kind of trying to tap into. But definitely excited because we are really getting into the nitty gritty of trying to improve that with higher intent throwing, a good velocity program, and kind of just piecing things together slowly.
Do you feel like you have a pretty good idea? Maybe not you personally, but other guys have a pretty good idea of where they're going to wind up after spring training. I don't really know how the Guardians run their spring training thing, and obviously you don't either. You'll get to experience that. But from what you've heard from maybe other guys that have been through the system before, is it pretty cut and dry, or is it really a battle? Everyone's trying to fight for a position.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure from what I've heard, there's probably about 15-20% of the organization that they have a good understanding of where they will kind of fall solely based off age and who they are, which is great. Like, it makes sense. They've been here for a while, they've worked for a while, and they put forth a product on the field that merits them having like a guaranteed position. But I would say for the majority of the guys, it is something that really is dependent on your performance in spring training, which is cool because it puts your positioning in your control. So I can pretty much control if I have a really good spring training, I do make a jump in velocity, then I might find myself in other higher levels. But in terms of what guys feel themselves out landing, they kind of told us a checklist of if you do this, this, and this, and that, you'll find yourself here. If you fall short and only do 3 of 5 or something similar, then you'll fall here. And then they'll reassess following spring training, because I could throw 95 miles an hour coming back to spring training, but if everyone's hitting me and if I'm running into too much damage, then it's a different conversation. Something else is wrong, and now it's not a velocity issue. Now it's a quality and execution issue. So
I kind of want to piggyback off of that, and obviously don't tell us anything you are not allowed to tell us, but what kind of stuff have they told you? Have they told you, like, we want you to throw 95, we want you to start throwing better, we want your form to get a little better, or is it stuff like strike 6 guys out, post 15 innings during spring training, and then we'll talk?
Yeah, so not necessarily the stats in terms of like the results. It's more so, let's check off these boxes so that then we can assess the results. So
Gotcha.
yeah, my exit meetings following the season were great. highlighted some strikeout rate, highlighted some walk rates that need to be worked on, which is a part of the game. It's a part of being a pitcher. But yeah, like I said, the looming thing is if you're striking out guys at a good clip, throwing 90 miles an hour, let's see what happens when you throw 93 miles an hour. Let's see how the clip changes from there. So the assumption is that if I were to improve accordingly in aspects like velocity and pitch usage, then strikeout rate, opponent average, weighted on base, all those numbers will adjust accordingly in a positive direction for myself. So that's kind of the approach, which is really good. It's almost surgical. It's almost like very thorough with how they do things, which is good.
Yeah, and I mean, as we talk spring training, I mean, it's only a couple months away. What are you looking forward to for your first big league spring training?
Honestly, just taking it all in. I was super excited leaving UC San Diego because I got the opportunity to just take everything in and kind of just learn and teach. So now, being that I'm in a new atmosphere, new environment where I'm like the newer guy, I'm just here to learn, and I'm here to do, and I'm here to put forth what I've learned and what I'm working on onto the field and see what sticks and what falls. But yeah, I'm just super excited to experience the spring training setup with like everyone else, and then hopefully get to face some cool guys, and hopefully get some good results, because that's what it's about. It's putting what you work on and seeing how it works out.
And I'm going to tell the people out there why they should love that answer, and specifically one word that you said, which is learn, because there are some guys that walk in out of college. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. They have been the guy. That's all they know to be the guy. Someone like you, and I'm sure a lot of other people within this Guardians organization that are taking the opportunity to learn and grow. That is what you want to hear. So that, I think, is a very good answer. Okay, we're going to wind this thing down now. What does Izaak Martinez do when there's no baseball on? Are you a really big football guy? Maybe a secret hockey guy? What do we watch?
Interesting. So, if we're talking sports, I will say I've gotten recently into football, and partially Cleveland basketball, because we had a conversation about Cleveland sports via Instagram, and ever since then, Cleveland basketball has been really good. So I've been briefly following that, getting into football.
Big Dodgers guy too.
Big
World
Dodgers
Series.
guy. Big Dodgers guy. So celebrated that very briefly. Was hoping I can see a Dodgers Guardians matchup, but that's how it is. But aside from that, I'm a big
there, isn't it?
Yeah. But aside from that, I'm a big movie guy. My girlfriend and I, we love watching movies. We like cooking.
Have you gone to see Wicked yet? Don't tell me, because I haven't.
I have seen Wicked.
How was it?
It was good. So as I like musicals, my favorite musical and movie is Mamma Mia. Fun fact. But I was going into Wicked not too sure, because I saw it was like Ariana Grande, and I was like, I don't know. But my girlfriend convinced me, and it was actually a very, very good experience. So I would recommend.
That's only part one, Izaak. A lot of people don't know that. that is part one.
I found that out exiting the theater. So it was a very good experience. It is a lengthier, film, but it was definitely worth sitting through it. It was good. And
you mentioned following the Cavs now, Cleveland basketball, the Cavs, obviously the best team in the NBA right now. Go Cavs. How important is it to you, or maybe how difficult is it for some of the minor leaguers to, what a lot of people like to say, buy into their community? So how Jose Ramirez has bought into the Guardians, or how Donovan Mitchell has bought into the Cavs, and both of them have bought into the community of Cleveland. How important is that to you? And with bouncing around through the minor leagues, how difficult do you think that is?
Yeah, I think it's really important, because it gives you a sense of like involvement with where you are and who you're playing alongside, and just the city that you're playing for, and so far as the state. But I think it's a big component of assimilating enjoying other sports and other components of Ohio and Cleveland, just because it allows you to feel like you're a part of a big group. And when you feel like you're a part of a big group and you're a part of something bigger than just baseball, it allows everything else to be very easy to pick up and kind of enjoy. So yeah, like picking up Cleveland basketball and watching the Browns and stuff like that. The Browns are a different conversation, but it's a different conversation. But
let's reel it back a little bit.
Yeah, but having that type of quality, you get basketball, football, baseball, you get everything in there, and not many cities, not many states have the ability to do that. That's really cool. So
we saw Donovan Mitchell at a Guardians playoff game. Can we see Izaak Martinez at a Cavs playoff game?
We'll see. I got some time to get up there, but before they really know who I am. But I'm sure when I find myself up there in Cleveland or Columbus or Lake County or any of those spots up there, I'm sure I'll be, visiting some games, checking out, the city, and kind of just enjoying the new culture that I've been fortunate to be a part of.
Well, everyone should know the name Izaak Martinez by now. You are wonderful to have on, sir. I think Tavin's got maybe one or two more for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about football. I'm kind of interested. What's your hometown team?
Okay, so you would think
I know
USC or UCLA. That's the two.
LA's got a lot of teams.
Yeah. So LA does have a bunch of teams. So I'm a split household in terms of UCLA, USC. My dad loves USC and my mom loves UCLA. So I'm kind of in the middle. But I would lean towards UCLA just because I have family that have gone to UCLA. But in terms of NFL football, I think I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary here and say that I'm actually a Bears fan prior, solely because my mom grew up watching the Chicago Bears and loved the era of defensive Bears football with like Brian Urlacher and all those guys. So she kind of rubbed off on me. I got like 3 Bears jerseys for some reason, and I never really pieced it together until I was like in middle school. But that would be the team that I grew up, I guess, favoring. Now it's just like the Rams because it's in LA. And yeah, if anything, it'd be those two teams.
I mean, if you're picking the Bears, it's a good thing you play a lot of really good baseball because you go through enough pain with the Browns and the Bears. So
yeah, it's rough for sure. But yeah, I mean, as I get more into football, I'll probably buy much deeper into the feelings and the roller coasters of football. But as of right now, I'm just a baseball guy, true and through. So I've been watching the off season like super heavily, watching kind of like the winter meetings, and that's kind of like what I find enjoyment out of right now is kind of keeping up with that.
Yeah. Nate, do you have anything else? I mean, I have one more thing I wanted to do.
Go for it. Yeah, do it. No, I know what you want to do, so do it.
Start it off, or ending it, should say, the same way we're starting it off. We went through college and the playoffs. Do you think you can name the 8 guys on the field with you at the time of your MILB pro debut?
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is much harder. This is definitely much harder.
Especially since guys are bouncing up and down.
And
at that point, well, late in the season too, Lynchburg just had an exodus of guys go up and down. And
and I remember asking, I was like, "Are these guys like starters?" And they're like, "Well, no one's really a starter, just because they get different opportunities." Okay, so
well, hey, it should be a lot easier because there are no pinch hitters. So
okay, so I'm gonna go Welbin Francisca.
That's your short.
That's my shortstop. Yep. I'm gonna go
leadoff hitter.
I'm gonna go. Was Fran Aldui playing at third or second, or was he was sitting down?
I think he was sitting.
Okay,
so then that game, yep.
So then I think Christian Knapczyk was injured as well when I came up, or was he playing?
He was playing
second. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Second baseman. Yep.
Okay, so he's playing second. So third base was it Juan Benjamin?
It was.
Yep.
Okay. I remember.
You're missing first base on the infield.
Okay, I think this was before Ralphie left. Was it
It
Ralphie?
was. Yep, it was
Boom.
Velasquez.
Okay, Ralphie. Okay.
The all-important one. This should always be your first answer, by the way.
I know.
Who-
We had like 3
Who was your
catchers.
catcher?
I'm gonna say I'm going to say it wasn't. Was it Logan Clark
It
or
was
Mejia?
Logan Clark.
Got him.
Okay,
It was
yeah, it
Logan
was
Clark.
Logan.
Yep.
Okay, it was Logan.
Infield done.
Okay, so the outfield was
Three pretty Lynchburg mainstays for last year.
yeah. Was it
Yeah.
Tommy Hawk
Yep.
And left.
in left? Was it Chorio in center?
Yep. Before he
Yep.
got hurt.
before he got
Pre-injury.
hurt? And then in right field, was it
This one might be a little tricky. Might be.
oh my goodness, in right field.
Because I'm pretty sure this guy went up. Yep, he went up to Lake County later.
Yeah, because he went. Yep.
Yeah.
Because he was a big part of that championship series. He was.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, I forgot his name. Because he also
Struggling with the right fielders today.
struggling big time with the right fielders. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I do remember he ended up going up there with Ralphie and one
A
of
little
our
bit of a
pitchers.
power guy. He's got some speed to him as well.
I don't know if it'll help you at all, but that game he went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you give me a hint on what the first letter of his name is?
His initials are WA.
W.
Oh yeah, it was oh my gosh. Atunez.
Okay.
Yup.
I was about to say you owe 2 people an apology
Yeah,
from this video.
Atunez. I forgot just because when we were there, when we first got called up, a bunch of different people were playing different positions. And then I was just trying to learn their names first and foremost.
Well, when you come back on,
that's a
we're going to
tricky
ask you about
first.
your first appearance
Yes.
in 2025. So keep that
Yes,
mental.
I'm going to stare at everyone for 3 to 10
Yep.
seconds, and they're gonna wonder why I'm looking crazy.
Izaak, let's close this out here. What is Izaak Martinez's biggest personal goal in 2025?
Biggest personal goal in 2025 is to continuously learn, continuously be grateful for this opportunity, but never take the foot off the gas. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep progressing in my process and kind of just do what I got to do to put myself in the best situation possible.
And there's the word learn again. I need to invest in the Izaak Martinez jersey. I got to do it. You're like an honorary third member of the podcast. Man.
That's sweet.
Yep.
Okay, Izaak, it is always a pleasure having you on. Pass the word around to your teammates, everyone else in the organization. We want to get as many people on here as possible before spring training. So pass it around.
Down. I will. I'll let them know once we get out there for sure.
Do it. And tell Kozart to respond to Tavin.
Of course. He's big league in all of us. Of course.
Izaak, great having you on again, man. We appreciate it for sure. One last question from me is just what can we expect out of Izaak Martinez in 2025?
I think you're gonna get a bunch of smiles. You're gonna get a bunch of quality work, and hopefully you will see Izaak Martinez in a bigger role and on a grander stage. So
talk about Lake County or Akron. Let's get there. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's get there. All right, Izaak, we're going to send you on your way. Thank you for taking the time today. Go Hellcats, man. Hopefully we see at some point during the season.
Yep, that's the goal. There you go.
All right. Tavin, send him on his way.
Thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned for next episode.